When you think of Cartoon Network, what comes to mind? Adventure Time? Regular Show? Ed, Edd n Eddy? How about Almost Naked Animals? Yeah, no, I wouldn't blame you if you wiped that one from your memory. As far as I'm concerned, the glory days of Cartoon Network are far behind us. I remember logging onto their website, playing their games, and watching clips of my favorite cartoons. They even had a video creator where you could make a mini movie using clips from various cartoons. You wanted to have Mordecai fight Finn? You could do that. I love the nostalgia that comes with revisiting these shows. But today, my friends, I'm going to look at the shows that have been swept under the rug, so to speak. These are the Cartoon Network shows that I, for better or worse, forgot about.
Alfei, Roba, Horace, the Problem Solvers.
In the 90s, show creator Ben Jones designed 3 characters that would soon become our main characters in The Problem Solvers. The series follows 3 detectives, Alfei, who's this fur monster or something, Roba, a nerdy cyborg, and Horace, a human, and most often the straight man of the trio. I'm doing a media dumpster episode on this later this year, so I won't spend too much time on here, but I believe the main downfall of Problem Solvers is, for starters, the animation. I cannot believe someone actually saw this and said, sure, that looks like something kids should look at. I'm not an animation powerhouse or anything. I haven't done any animated work in my time, but I can still see what the problem is here. You have characters that are very, very colorful, and buildings that are very brightly colored as well in the foreground. Then the backgrounds are equally as bright and colorful, so it's almost impossible to focus on one thing because there's nothing popping out at you when everything is so in-your-face colorful all the time. Cartoon Network must have seen how badly it was being received because instead of airing Season 2 of the series on the channel, it was just dumped on Netflix. This is one I definitely don't mind forgetting. Created by Kyler Page, a former storyboard designer for Adventure Time, Clarence was developed as a part of a shorts development program at Cartoon Network Studios. Evidently, they took a liking to it because in 2014 the pilot of the show premiered and even got nominated for a Creative Arts Award at the Emmys. The show follows fun-loving 10-year-old Clarence who goes through daily life situations and adventures with his best friends Jeff and Sumo. I was actually surprised to find out that I actually own a DVD of this show, so I decided to sit down and watch a few episodes. After watching it, yeah, I really enjoy it. I'd actually go as far as saying this was probably the last show I watched on Cartoon Network that made me actively want to revisit it after I had fallen behind on Regular Show and Adventure Time. The show honestly has this kind of lovable weirdness to it. I can't explain that. Clarence and his friends are always getting into some weird antics, and then the show even takes its time to devote episodes to singular characters within Clarence's school, whether it's his friends outside of the main trio, or even parents and teachers. They're just as developed as the other kids, so you get a nice sense of the world we're living in here. It ended in 2018 after 3 seasons, and I'd say that's a solid way to end things off for Clarence. I feel it was definitely underappreciated during its time, so by all means, if you're interested, check it out. Watch an episode or 2 of it. It might just be something you're into.
Destroy! Build! Destroy!
Back when Cartoon Network wanted to appeal to more teen audiences with game shows, Destroy Build Destroy was about 2 groups of teens destroying something random, building something of their own to compete in a challenge, and whoever wins gets to destroy the losing creation as well as getting $3,000. Seemed like a pretty fun concept, and it also helped that you had someone as wild as Andrew WK as the host. Unfortunately though, Cartoon Network's attempts to push game shows as their new top thing didn't end well, as most of them led to negative reception and got cancelled almost immediately. Destroy Build Destroy lasted at least 2 years, getting 4 seasons. Not bad considering the game shows that had come before it got cancelled before even getting that far. I remember tuning into this one maybe once or twice, but I'd always opt out for a cartoon. Sorry, Andrew.
Level Up. New episodes coming in October.
Following up on the Cartoon Network movie that served as its pilot, Level Up was about a group of high schoolers that open a portal from a video game, and now all of the game's strange creatures are appearing in the real world. Each episode follows a new creature coming into their world, and the teens are forced to put a stop to it. This is another one that I do remember watching a few episodes of. I remember there was one where one of these things they had to send back to the game was a vampire hamster. I mean, that's creative, I guess. I remember I watched the movie the night it premiered, though I couldn't tell you anything that happened. It's been way too long. Nevertheless, Level Up aired for just over a year before ending with a total of 35 episodes. This is another show that I actually have DVDs of. Mad was a show based on the magazine of the same name that took popular films, shows, events, and celebrities and parodied them. This might be my favorite of the ones we've talked about in this video because it is just so unhinged. I kind of love it. Whether it's Buzz Lightyear in The Bourne Identity or the Jersey Shore cast in Up, there was plenty of fun combinations to be had in this show. I also love the creativity of this show, using so many types of animation from CGI to claymation to stop motion and so on. I was actually surprised to learn that this premiered on the same night as regular show, making this nearly 14 years old. Mad ran for 3 years before ending in 2014, and it was pretty well liked for the most part. Series developer Kevin Shinnick actually worked as a writer and producer on Robot Chicken, so it's no wonder people would often say that Mad felt like a kid-friendly version of that show. I really enjoyed this a lot as a kid, and I still do today, and I even remember going online where you could actually write in requests for parodies you wanted to see on the show. Remember the one where Dora the Explorer was in The Legend of Korra? Yeah, I'm so serious, I sent that in. You're welcome. Okay, so I'm kind of cheating for this one because it wasn't originally a Cartoon Network show. It was originally made for a Canadian television channel, YTV, but screw it. It aired on Cartoon Network, so they gotta own this. Almost Naked Animals was based on a website that creators Noah Z. Jones made in 2005. The show follows, you guessed it, animals that are nearly naked and are all staying at a tropical resort. Every single one of these animals have shaved off their fur and are only wearing underclothes, and this show is just about their various adventures in the resort. Despite the bare-bones premise, Almost Naked Animals did get 3 seasons with a total of 52 episodes before ending in 2013. I remember watching this once, and it wasn't that funny. It's just not a cartoon premise that really pops out at me as being funny. The title is kind of the only drawing point here because of how absurd it must have been for someone to pitch a cartoon for children with the word naked in the title. My crew is incredible. Created by Nick Cannon in 2012, Incredible Crew was a sketch comedy show that was basically randomly compiled skits of these teens acting out weird situations and portraying odd characters. This is actually the final live-action show Cartoon Network has ever aired, and will likely stay that way because of how poorly it was received. I'm sure lots of parents got annoyed by this show, and I guess I can see why. Yeah, there's a lot of screaming. Like, a lot of screaming. But that guy that voices Finn from Adventure Time is in there, at least, you know? Yeah, it's no secret why this show didn't even last 5 months on the air. This was most likely Cartoon Network's attempt to get their own version of All That, the popular Nickelodeon sketch show from the 90s. For me personally, I get a kick out of it because of how random and stupid it is. It's certainly better than Disney Channel's attempt at comedy sketch shows. Scooby-Dooby! This is the most recent show to be featured in the video, but I could see why people could forget about Be Cool ScoobyDoo. Back before Velma was a thing, this was what the Scooby-Doo fans deemed as the worst Scooby adaptation. I'm here to say it's actually not half bad. It's nowhere near the quality of What's New Scooby-Doo or Mystery Incorporated, since this one does have a more comedic tone, but there's still some charm here. I think the thing that throws people off the most are the character designs, and yeah, they certainly are different to what we've gotten in the past. Half the time I had to remind myself I was watching a Scooby-Doo show and not a cutaway gag on Family Guy. It just kinda reminds me of that animation style. Probably one of my favorite things in this show is that you think they're going to make someone an ultra goofball with weird quirks. You think they're going to give that to Scooby and Shaggy. Here, somehow Daphne is the weirdest character on the show. I kind of love that because if you think to her past iterations, isn't she just Fred's love interest? It's just such a strange direction to take the character, so I gotta admire this show on that front. That wasn't enough to save it, of course, with it getting just 2 seasons with a total of 52 episodes. Starting out as an animated short made for a show that never came to Cartoon Network, Uncle Grandpa was comprised of 11-minute episodes in which a magical man named Uncle Grandpa bursts into kids' homes and asks them how they're doing. Over the course of the episode, Uncle Grandpa typically teaches the kid a lesson about staying true to who they are, but does this in the most absurd way possible. He also travels around with a talking slice of pizza, voiced by Adam Devine, a cutout of a tiger that can fly, and a dinosaur. Uncle Grandpa would receive 5 seasons total, and while receiving mixed reviews from critics, it was still praised enough for its hyperactive imagination and visual gags. They even did a crossover with Steven Universe later down the line. Also, Andrew W.K. was in this show too. If I had a nickel for every time he was in a Cartoon Network series, I'd only have 10 cents, but I guess it's weird that it happened twice. This is also apparently a spin-off of the final show we're talking about, with featured characters that were in the short that inspired the show. The characters of Secret Mountain Fort Awesome started out as villains in the Uncle Grandpa animated short, and from there went on to get their own series that didn't even air for a year. Yeah, Secret Mountain Fort Awesome was not loved much by fans, or viewers of Cartoon Network. For starters, these characters are just obscenely gross. This race of monsters, called the Disgustoids, are banished from society and decide to unleash crazy stunts upon the world in retaliation. The characters range from a literal ball of mucus, this purple-tusked monster that wears underwear, and a monster literally made out of butts who farts whenever he's touched. Can't imagine how slim the competition must have been when it won numerous awards, including an Emmy. If you like this, that's fine. I appreciate the art style and edginess of it, especially since the showrunner had worked on shows I enjoy like Futurama and The Misadventures of Flapjack. It's just the subject matter and toilet humor is just not for me. Well, that's enough nostalgia for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. It was definitely something different than what we normally do here on the channel, and I hope maybe you did forget some of these shows and this helped jog your memory. Well, take care everyone, and goodbye.